welcome to a new episode of the Just Zodiac Podcast, the greatest wrestling podcast you've never heard of. Don't adjust your screens, ladies and gentlemen. We have a new guest on the show, but we will get to him in just a minute. First, I got to introduce the psycho nerd, the repeat movie viewer, all those things that he does, the psycho nerd. Wow, they don't like him.
Aim to please.
Yeah, I know. And it's funny because in about 2.5 hours, it's his 130th birthday. So let's give him some applause for being an old man looking not a day over 42.
See, if you wanted to be funny, you could have said my forget it, Lord of the Rings reference, but you're not a big fan.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
Lord of the Rings.
We're not going to go down that road. I'll just take the eagle and fly to Mordor, and I'm out. And new on the show, newcomer. Hopefully, we'll see him more often. TikTok buddy who has been wanting to be on the show, and I've been wanting to get him on. We finally had the opportunity. Anthony Raybrook, sir, welcome to the show.
Hey, Josh, Psycho, man. Thanks for having me. It's going to be great. Look forward to it. We watched the show, so let's break it down, man. We're going to have a lot of fun here.
And we had, like I said, we had another Saturday Night main event, 5 matches total. Not going to lie, one of them didn't need to be on the show, but we'll get to that match when we get there. We're going to start off with the 6-woman tag match, which was Jade Cargill, Minchin and K-Fab versus Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, and Rhea Ripley. I'm not going to lie to y'all. This match didn't need to happen. All this did was set up Rhea versus Jade and possibly Rhea versus Charlotte down the road. Anthony, you're the new guy on the show. I want to start with you. What are your thoughts about this match and the outcome of it?
Kind of like I was talking about before here, I was chatting with a buddy of mine, and I think that's an enhancement match. I think that's a match before you get to, the big time. That's an enhancement match for B-Fab and Michin. That's Jade Cargill trying to get up there and help put on talent that needs help. You put them with 3 of the best in the business with Rhea, Charlotte, Alexa, and you kind of protect them when you do that 6-woman tag match thing. A lot of chaos gets, mistakes getting hidden in the chaos. I wouldn't say that match doesn't need to happen, Josh. I do think it could have been choreographed better. There's some wardrobe malfunctions that, weren't able to be hidden. A couple of sloppy spots, a lot of pauses. So for me, it's better to happen at a Saturday night's main event than a different PLE. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I think that's kind of like an audition, if you will. Like, hey, this is a bigger crowd than a Friday Night SmackDown, Saturday Night Lights type of a thing for them. Trying to see where they're at and kind of gauge.
I can get behind that. Shit, that was very well spoken. I'm actually behind that. Psycho, anything you want to add to that? Any cons or pros or cons or anything you want to add to that?
I mean, I agree that the match doesn't need to be on the Saturday night's main event. That's a whole different discussion for whether or not they're doing too many of them lately, but we'll talk about that later. But you know what? There wasn't anything really special about the match, in my opinion. It just kind of existed, in my opinion. There was a nice triple teaming on Charlotte. I enjoyed that. Rhea not tagging Charlotte, but then Charlotte having to tag her later on was a nice little bit of storytelling there. I thought that was a nice touch. A little too much showboating by Michin, in my opinion, for during the match. I couldn't help but laugh at that. It's like, what are you cheering for? You haven't done anything yet. But beautiful missile drop kick off the top rope by Rhea to Michin. That was a beautiful spot to end out the match, in my opinion. So it does have its fair spots along the way for me, but otherwise, it could have just as easily been on SmackDown, and I don't think anybody would have bat an eye.
Yeah, and I agree. I think this is one of those matches that they needed an opening match. They set it up, but this is long-term storytelling going down the road because, of course, Jade and Rhea have their history. Rhea won the title at WrestleMania from Jade, and now Jade is getting her return match to get her rematch, so to speak. And I'm hoping when this is over with and Rhea beats her, that's the end of that Jade. And I'm not saying she needs to go in the back and never be seen again, but I still, and I've been saying this for a very long time on this podcast, that Jade is not the superstar that B wants her to be. Her in-ring ability is okay. Her mic skills are kind of okay. And again, that's just my opinion. I see it as I see it. I don't know. I think Jade would have benefited from being in NXT before she came to the main roster. I think that would have benefited her a lot. So I feel like, Anthony, you're judging me right now. I want you to say what you got to say. I know there's something on the tip of your tongue you want to say.
Man.
Go ahead and get
That's a
You
very
know,
slight
Josh,
smile going on there.
I'm a Jade stan, man. Jade does no wrong in my eyes. I don't know what it is. Y'all can keep your thoughts of what you think it might be in your heads. For the
Of course.
for the people watching,
I can
I
paint a
think
very
that
pretty picture in my mind, yes.
yeah, yeah. I think that for me, the most important thing about her not going to NXT is that she would have buried other talent because she was good enough at that time now to where I think they waited too long for Oba. And when Ricky
Mm,
Saints beat
okay.
Oba, it made us question Oba Femi. And had
Yeah.
it been JC Jane with Jade, we'd be doing the same thing. Those types of talents
Fair
that are
point.
big, charismatic, electric, sometimes we got to put them up there. Back in the day, we didn't have that. We had developmental, we had OVW, but
Yeah.
you're a big top tier prospect going in. You had the look, you could talk the talk. They always say that if you can talk, if you have the look and you can talk, we'll teach you how to wrestle. You can't always teach everybody the gift of gab. And I think Jade is good enough talking wise to cover up the mistakes she has in the ring. And her overall look is it's ridiculous and it's hard to keep her off television. Um,
I can't argue with that. That's spot on accurate. Yeah, I
no,
can't argue with that.
no,
That's
yeah,
spot
that's it.
on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just, yeah. I'm a stan. Like I said, man, she can do nothing wrong to me.
Well,
And
to be fair,
and that brings up a valid point though, is that and even in the TikTok live that we were in, people like who they like and people hate who they don't like. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
get that. We got a guy in the group who just glazes Roman Reigns, and I cannot stand Roman Reigns. So, to each their own, everybody has someone they love and someone they hate. I give the people that I respect and I like their flowers when they deserve it. And even people that I don't like, I'm like, I don't like that person, but they're really good at what they do. So I'm going to give them the respect they deserve. So I totally get that. And we're not here to disagree and hate. We're here to disagree and understand. So
That's perfect.
opinions are always welcome on this show. So we will move on to the second match. And this is the match I think did not need to be here. This could have happened on Raw tomorrow night to set up this match. But it was Sol Sikoa versus Becky Lynch. This was a non-title match, which made me think, okay, they're probably setting something bigger up. Obviously, they did because Sol went for a shot. Becky moved Jessica Carr, the dirtiest referee in the business, into the way. Sol kicks her. Jessica hits, ring the bell. We're done. And Becky wins by disqualification. But
so
the
Ruka won.
GM for SmackDown comes out and goes, well, because of your actions, you have a match at Clash in Italy and your title's on the line.
And
So
rightfully so, Josh.
I'll
And
start with,
rightfully so. You know
oh no,
better.
I agree. I mean, if I am not that fan that's going to be like, oh, it's bullshit. Yeah, when I play the character of the Judge Zodiac, I totally get it. I'm gonna fucking ride that mule as hard as I possibly can.
Yeah.
But in reality, I get it. Okay, cool. She fucked up. She has another match, and this time the belt's on the line. What do you think, Psycho? Do you think this match could have been done on Raw versus this show?
It didn't need to be on this show whatsoever, as far as I'm
Yep.
concerned. If they'd have had an actual match, like a 10, 15-minute match or however long they're allowing for the individual matches, that would have been fine. And then
Yeah.
had that kind of an ending, I could have gotten behind it. But it literally lasted what, like a minute and a half,
It
2
wasn't even that
minutes?
long.
Not even that long. So it's like, well, what's the point of getting it set up like it's going to be a full match and this is all we get? Don't get me wrong. It was fun to watch what we got. The
Yeah.
whole thing with Jessica Carr, her and Becky kind of having their back and forth that's been going on for a while now. That's fun to watch. I enjoy that. And her pulling the referee in front of her, such a classic heel move as far as I'm
Yep.
concerned. But that's literally the whole entire match. There's really nothing else about the match itself to address other than it was short, sweet, good storytelling. I'll give them that. It was at
Yeah.
least that aspect was fun. So, and
And
I don't feel sorry for Becky at all. This is
Yeah.
it's like you didn't see that coming, Becky. Like you really didn't see it coming.
Well, she's the heel. She feels like she's doing everything right and everybody's against her, which is true heel. That's just the way it is.
And announcement, apparently Becky sucks, according to the crowd. They're all saying it.
See, the crowd is
They're all
stupid.
saying it. They're all saying it. So now
It's not just
Sports
it's
Illustrated didn't
Psycho.
say it.
Psycho. It's not just us saying it. Everybody's saying it. ESPN's saying it.
See, how
Sports
dare y'all.
Illustrated says it.
I feel like I'm being attacked here. Jesus Christ.
No, you're fine.
Anthony, anything you want to add about this match that Psycho didn't already say?
I'm not going to disagree with him. I don't mind it being on there. I'm somebody who watches a match very intent, like with a lot of intent. I try to find the
Mhm.
mistakes. I don't do that to harp on them. I do that to try to understand and make sure I have all the information. And when it first happened, I
Mhm.
thought when Jessica Carr had took the bump, I thought she got hurt, and I thought that was I thought they called the match, and then they kind of unraveled a little bit. I have my reservations about the lack of actual wrestling in the finish. I feel like the setup was already there. I do feel
Yeah.
like it could have been on a Monday night, but maybe there's something we're missing. I always give the benefit of the doubt, Josh. I always try to. I'm not the
Oh,
booker.
yeah. Understandable, and that's the one thing that people want a fantasy book all the time. It's like, dude, you're not the booker. Let it be what it is, you know? And yeah, again, I said it before and I'll say it again. This could have happened on the middle of Raw. You got the ref in the way. Okay, cool. Guess what? You got another match in a week and you're defending your title because tonight the title was on the line.
So
They
let me
took
ask
away
you a
from another
question.
match.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that they already protected Soul with the way that Becky won originally, and that they were afraid?
Well,
Do you think that they're afraid to spoil? Because they've been doing a lot of protecting in the ways that either call ups are winning or the call ups are losing. They're being very protected in how that happens.
yeah.
And I'm wondering if they're
Mhm.
trying to protect Becky, because if Becky goes back to back and wins, then there shouldn't be enough. There can't be a best out of three for the title at that point. And if Soul wins, then it kind of puts it up in the air and makes it more predictable for Italy.
And see, I think for that, for Soul to go over Becky, which arguably is the top female on Raw right now, even higher than Liv Morgan, and I will argue that. I'll die on that hill because Liv Morgan hasn't done shit with that belt since she's had it. Becky has still defended it. She's a working champion.
That's a
Which
fair point.
and again, the Intercontinental, not just on the men's side, but on the women's side, is always the stepping stone to something bigger. Becky is in a Chris Jericho AEW position where she is making that title relevant by doing what she's doing. She's putting some prestige behind it. So it's like, okay, cool. It's not Lyra Valkyria, who was the first one to win it, but it's like nobody cared when they put the belt on Becky and she turned heel, then all of a sudden it made some relevance to it. So, but again, I think if Soul were to beat Becky, she's in the stratosphere, and Becky will probably take some time off again, or she'll feud with Soul for a little while longer. They'll probably have one more match because Becky's already got the one. Soul will win the title at Clash in Italy, and then they'll probably feud again at SummerSlam or at Money in the Bank. So,
So I think
and
Becky turns face, Josh. I think Becky turns face. I think when she loses to Soul, the Maxine Dupree is going to be the reason she loses, and that will expose Maxine in the Vision, and that kind of is going to turn Becky Lynch
oh,
face back with Seth, trying to help him out with Maxine Dupree thing as Maxine turns heel with the Vision. I think that's how she loses at
I
Italy.
love this idea.
I
And
think
it's
that's how
funny
she loses
because
at
Becky
Italy.
Becky
Yeah,
did, my
yeah,
God, that's fucking brilliant. I hadn't thought
yeah,
about that.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
If that really
Good
So
idea.
happens, man, oh
I
my
think I
God.
appreciate, yeah, yeah, yeah. I appreciate the idea I appreciate the idea that I think that they're thinking of. I'd like to think that
Yeah,
WWE or AEW could call me right now and help with booking, but you know, here we are.
yeah, yeah.
Would be
Wow,
nice, wouldn't it?
my
Would be
mind is
nice.
fucking blown
Oh
right
yeah.
now. Jesus, wow. Hadn't thought about that, but that makes, and we've been seeing Maxine with the Vision for a while now, so just little crumbs.
Oh yeah.
I'll feed you, baby birds. Here you go. So that makes perfect sense. I like that idea. We're going to move on to the next match, which I don't know. For me, I thought this was the match of the night, and it's Ethan Page versus Penta for the Intercontinental Championship. My God, I honestly thought Ethan was going over this match. And the way it was going, it looked like it was going to be an Ethan Page night where he changes the belt to the Canadian Championship versus the Intercontinental. That's just his stigma. He did it in NXT. It would make sense if he did the same thing with this title. So I'm all for that. He's definitely a great worker, and him and Penta looked like $1 million tonight. They looked impressive. But fortunately or unfortunately, however you look at it, Penta did get the win. Page did try to cheat by taking off 2 turnbuckles, not 1, but 2, and got caught in his own trap and lost with the missing exploder, and it was all over with. Anthony, what do you think? Do you agree this is the match of the night, or do you think this was just a really great match in general?
I think this is match of the year candidate. I mean, I really do. No
Oh,
bullshit here. No bullshit here. You look at the technical aspect of that match with such a young man, Ethan Page being a call up, and I mean, working with one of the very best in the business. I think Penta's one of the best workers there is.
yeah.
Lucha and American style wrestling. I mean, he's one of the very best. And it's hard to keep up with the speed of Penta. And Ethan Page did a phenomenal job tonight. He wrestled well. And I'm telling you, 5-star classic. I really enjoyed the match, man. And they deserve all the flowers they're going to get. I really think that Ethan Page can be on track to a John Cena type career. I really think so. I really do.
Psycho, anything you want to add to that?
I agree, and it was definitely match of the night. Definitely the most exciting, the most interesting wrestling match of the night. A lot of catch-as-catch-can style going on here. Just letting these two guys just go out and just have the ring to themselves, and up until the point of the finale with the whole cheating aspect and whatnot, which, for the record, actually ended up costing Paige in the long run.
Yep.
So it's like, dude, if you hadn't have done that, maybe you'd have won, but it is what it is. But I do enjoy watching these two go at it throughout the entire match. It's even more fun because I used to watch these guys in AEW and I enjoyed their work over there originally.
Okay.
And it's nice to see them in a different company, different capacity, doing similar stuff to what they've done before. It was a lot of fun. I agree. One of the best matches of the year. Candidate. I completely agree with that. And there's some nice spots throughout the match too.
I'm
Very
going to say
nice overall.
this, that those of us that don't watch AEW, we pretty much got a preview of what we would have seen if had we watched AEW when they were both in there. But the match I want to see with Penta, and this is going to go back a minute, I want Penta versus Chelsea Green. I want that match in WWE. We've had it before. We will have it again. God damn it. I want it to happen.
I
And
think
for
the
those of you
closest
that
thing you
don't,
get is Matt Cardona.
yeah, I agree. Because WWE will never have a woman wrestle a man again.
Not again.
Sorry.
Not
after
like that
Jamie
match
Noble.
you're talking
Not
about.
after Jamie Noble did
No.
that blindfolded match.
Oh my God, the blindfold. I remember that.
But here's
What's
the
her
thing,
name?
for those of you that are watching,
That's funny.
for those of you that are watching, don't know what the fuck we're talking about, take your ass to YouTube. After you watch this episode, watch all of it. Go to YouTube, Google Penta versus Chelsea Green. If I'm not mistaken, it was in Lucha Underground.
It was Lucha Underground.
It's a fucking banger. And Chelsea Green looks fucking impressive in this match. I mean, Penta makes her look like $1 million, man. It's a great
That on her
match.
resume should make her a women's champion.
You know
instantly.
what?
I mean,
And it's funny.
ridiculous.
I agree.
On that WWE documentary that they did on Netflix where freaking Michael PSA is like, oh yeah, Chelsea Green is it was saying all this bad shit about, no, fuck you, dude. Michael PSA can go suck a dick. I'm sorry. Chelsea Green needs to be at the top, at the pinnacle right now. She needs to win Money in the Bank or Queen of the Ring. One of the two.
Josh, were you on the
prefer she win
live?
Queen of the Ring.
Were you on the
She
live
what?
when we talked about that? Were you on the live when we talked about that?
I think, yeah, we talked about it briefly, but
Yeah.
for me, I think if Chelsea won the Queen of the Ring, that's a year of her taunting everybody that I'm the queen, I'm this, I'm not the US champion, I'm the queen of the WWE, and it writes itself.
It
And her and
Right
Tiffany,
itself.
her and Tiffany being friends through that, Josh. Oh my God. Her and
Yep.
Tiffany Stratton
Oh
being
my
friends
God.
through that whole run.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
big time.
it would pay light bills.
It would. We're gonna move on to the first of the two tag matches we had tonight. We had the Irresistible Forces, and I fucking hate that name, by the way, versus Brie Bella and Paige. Where do I even begin with this one? I was really hoping Nikki Bella would interfere. I would have put money on it. Like, Nikki's gonna interfere, gonna cost him the title. In a twist of fate, no pun intended here. Paige and Brie would get the win with a little assist from Brie tapping Paige on the ass to keep that pin intact. And I know I'm not the only one that thinks this, but I really think that Brie and Paige should not have won the tag titles. It should have gone to Bayley and Lyra, or it should have gone to somebody else. I love nostalgia acts as much as the next person does, and I'm okay with them being in the company, but they shouldn't be given gold the first day they come back. And I'm talking to Paige when I say that. That being said, Anthony, anything you want to say about this match? You can tell I'm frustrated because I'm so over fucking Bella.
He doesn't like the Bellas.
I haven't said anything negative. I haven't said one negative thing all night, and I think I'll say something negative here. For the love of Christ and everything holy, could you please take the old folks back to the old folks home, back to the retirement home, let them play pinochle, feed them tapioca pudding, whatever the fuck you want to do. Hey, I don't give a fuck if you start an old folks wrestling. I'll watch it. That's fine. I'll set up the ring. I don't give a shit. But please get them out of here. Okay? We got to do something different. I just don't think that they can go the way they used to. And when you have two veterans who cannot move the way they used to, and you mix them with two women who can't move very well, this is the result that we get. Slop.
Yep.
We get slop. We get pausing in the middle of the canvas, in the middle of the ring. We're paused, telegraphing robotically the next spot, and it makes those of us who are on the AEW WWE divide. That's why AEW fans go, "You really fucking watch this shit?" These are the types of matches that get us a bad name.
Yeah, they do.
Not a fan of the match. I would rather watch Becky and Soruka have a 1.5 minute referee bout 100 times over than watch that match. Yeah, I digress. Yeah, if you want to hand that to Psycho, I'm
Psycho. Anything you want to add to that?
Hey,
Or was
Anthony,
was that pretty spot fucking on right there?
tell us how you really feel. No, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. This is part of the reason why I don't really care to watch the company on a regular anymore. I usually just stick to the weekend shows whenever they happen because, quite frankly, it's just not that interesting to watch half the time. And this is like what he's talking about. For some matches are pretty spot on, where it's like they're literally just kind of walking through the match, and I'm not even invested to begin with the whole Paige and Brie Bella. We can talk a mile a minute about that. We keep saying the same thing over and over. Nobody here is happy with it. So,
nope.
I agree. It needs to go away. That's why initially I kind of picked the Irresistible Forces, which I don't mind that name personally. I originally picked them to win only because I thought, well, maybe the company will spartan up. Yeah, right. And actually give somebody else the freaking belt, somebody who could actually, I don't know, maybe try to carry it for a while. But well, wishful thinking on my part.
But see, that's the one problem with the tag division, not just the men, but the women too. There aren't any really true tag teams anymore. I mean, we had a couple in the women's side, but they released them. I forget what their names were, but they were a true tag team from NXT that got the call up and they didn't do shit and they ended up getting released. And I'm like, that's a shame because they were actually really good at what they did. Mm-hmm. And when you have a tag team of Damian Priest and R-Truth, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel at that point. Not that they're not great at what they do. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying now there are some times when you put two people together that probably shouldn't be together and they end up becoming some of the greatest tag team or matches you've ever seen. And I'm talking about Sheamus and what was his name? Cesaro. Sheamus and Cesaro, the Bar. Yes, love that tag team. They didn't want the best of 7. McFoley set it up. They ended up tying it up. Fuck it, you're going to be a tag team. And they ended up just being tag team gold. And I've argued this and I'll say it again. They need to unify both men's titles, tag titles, and just have them do what the women do. Go back and forth, back and forth.
I agree.
Guys, I don't know that I agree. I don't want to, you can move on whenever you want, Josh, but
say what you got to say.
We have so much talent on the roster that if used properly, both sets of titles could be very much relevant. And
see right there,
if used properly, are a necessity. They have to be there. There's plenty of one-offs that have been made throughout history, one-off tag teams that have gone down and been like, man, they were a really, really good tag team. I mean, even the Stone Cold and Triple H. I mean, those are one-off guys that nobody complained about. But you put a strap on R-Truth and Damian Priest, and they go, really? We couldn't put it on the Motor City Machine Guns? It's like, for what? Oh, they're crickets when they walk out. It's nothing. And WWE has been that since I've watched. It's almost 30 years worth of wrestling. If you don't get a pop, you're not going to get a strap. That's it. And Motor City Machine Guns would come out, and we get nothing.
Yep.
The biggest thing that the Wyatt Six got was a fucking flashlight.
Yeah.
It's nothing. It's nothing. So you put it on Damian Priest, who people love Damian Priest right now. And R-Truth has been one of the most beloved guys out in the WWE over the last 20 years. Yeah. People begged for that guy's job back. That's why they're tag team champions. Yeah, I mean,
No
It
argument
sucks
here,
to
but
say.
I'm gonna say this. You talk about, if you don't get a pop, you don't get a strap. I just got a text from Jey Uso, and he just said, "Yeet." That's all he said. If
Yeah, here we
anybody
go.
if anybody got a strap because of a pop, it's definitely Jey Uso, and we won't go down that road.
No, but that's a
Moving
valid point
on.
that
Oh, go ahead.
I'm just saying everything he's saying has
Yeah,
a valid
100%
point.
valid.
If
Yeah,
they
he's
were
right.
utilizing the tag team division properly, but they're not. That's their downfall. That's their big problem right now. You got all these different teams. You're not doing anything with any of them. What the fuck
But
are
he
you
he
doing? So
but here's
if
the
you're
bigger problem, though. It's not a WWE problem. It's a TKO problem because they got their
Oh,
hand in
you
the cookie jar.
took it out of my mouth.
We're going to be in charge of creative now. No, fuck you. This is not the UFC. Fuck off. Stay in the boardroom where you fucking belong. Seriously, I'm sorry. Yeah, we've touted that on this show for months now.
yeah.
AEW, Jesus Christ. TKO, fuck off. Get out of the creative. Seriously. You need to be hiring people like us who actually know wrestling, that know good stories, especially fucking Anthony over here has had a great idea. I hadn't even
Don't
thought
do that.
about that. And people know I am one of the biggest Becky fans out there. And I'm going, I hadn't thought of that. So,
It's a smart idea.
but I'm okay with the heel Becky. I love heel Becky, and the song is growing on me now. I didn't like it at first. Now I'm like, it's not that bad. Now that I
Song's
know
cool.
what the song is about, I'm like, okay, I can get behind it now.
Yeah.
But I digress. We will move on to the main event of the show. We got the Street Profits with the smoke coming out against the Vision. Did we not see the interference coming in this match? Did we not see it coming?
I put it in my predictions.
Yeah,
It was on the
I
bingo card.
anticipated. Yeah, Braun Breaker showing up. Gee, if you didn't pick that happening, you must be new. Here's a seat. Here's a drink. Here's some popcorn. Have fun. This is the WWE. But it was
Oh,
a great
boy.
match, though. It was a
Oh,
great fucking match. Paul Heyman being the ever vigilant heel manager that he is, being a distraction
sack of
for
shit.
everybody. I love Paul Heyman.
Oh my God, dude.
I
The
love
very
Paul
best
Heyman.
of
Everything
the
he
very
does is
best in
awesome.
the business. The very
Oh,
best in the
100%.
business, dude. Hands
Could
down.
not agree more. But at the end of the day, they're not going to drop the titles on a Saturday Night Main Event. It's not happening. No. And I think we talked about this in the live. The last time the tag belts were went to a new champion was Demolition and Arn Anderson and somebody else. Yeah, I
I know
forget
which
who it
tag
was.
team you're talking about.
Yeah,
I forget the guy's
that
name.
was 30 years
19
ago. Over 30 years
1990
ago.
1992? Was that it?
Yeah.
Saturday Night's Monday at 92?
34 years ago. Jesus. Yeah. So I didn't see any reason the Division dropping these titles tonight. There's a lot more story to be told with those tag team belts in the Division, and they're not dropping them anytime soon. That being said, Psycho, what did you think of this match? Did you think it ended the way it should have?
It ended the way I feel like that was expected. And I think storyline wise, yes, I think this is the proper way to do things. It was a fun match once it picked up, because I felt like there was a lot of standing around, a lot of staring, a lot of doing this, and I'm just like, come on, not all main events have to be this way. Come on, get to the point. But once the pace picked up, it was a much more fun match. It definitely got more interesting. I love the Vision trying to just walk away like, yeah, we're done. We're out. Classic heel move. Can't get enough of that. Montez jumping over the top rope to the outside. That's a sick fucking move, dude.
He does it all the time, and it's fucking
I
beautiful every
know.
time he does it.
And it gets me every time.
Yep. Agreed. Could not agree more on that.
But yeah, this match was exactly what I was expecting it to be. So yeah, not bad for what it was. This story, like you said, it's not over yet. This is going to keep going.
Anthony, anything you want to add to that?
I want to say that Austin Theory, Logan Paul, the Street Profits, those guys are the reason that Pepsi Man Phil needs to go to the fucking retirement home. I mean, they are head and shoulders above anything that guys of that age can do. I mean, that match, yes, it took a while to get going, but had some spots in it. Montez Ford does that spot flawlessly, and it scares the absolute fuck out of me every single time. And dude, he's over. Oh my God. And they go crazy, you know?
Yeah, they do.
But what a match. You know, Austin Theory and Logan Paul are the one-off tag team that we talk about that says, hey man, they could be really good. Those are two. Austin Theory should be a singles competitor. Logan Paul should be a singles competitor, but they're a tag team
Yep.
right now.
He's good enough.
And they're doing such a good job. And they are elevating the tag titles. They're making them relevant. And this little thing with the Street Profits, Josh, we were in the live and I was pissed. Remember, I was pissed because I was like,
Yeah, you
we
were.
didn't have one title change all night. And I'm pissed off about that.
Nope.
Like, why do we do that? But I let the pissed off inside me go down, and I let the booking part of me take over and go, okay, there are two pieces missing right now. And you're gonna like this. If you like the booking with Sol and Becky and Maxine, you're gonna like this. There's one guy that Seth Rollins gave the rub to, and we have not seen that tree bear fruit. And he saved Seth Rollins' ass against Brock Lesnar. Oba Femi, I believe, should be a part of this. Brock and Oba have unfinished business.
Yeah.
Seth is trying to help the Street Profits. And I believe that Oba Femi coming in when Brock Lesnar's in the picture with the Vision and Paul Heyman, those interminglings is going to create what the Hurt Syndicate should have been. And Oba Femi and the Street Profits being a faction is great for business. The Street Profits are old enough, veterans in the game, to help keep Oba Femi grounded long enough without a main card title. It gives him enough screen time to keep him away. And I believe that in time, if they give Oba Femi the Brock Lesnar treatment, he will go down as one of the greatest of all time. Because he's not leaving for Hollywood and he's not leaving for the UFC. That kid's electric. So that being said, the reason I think that that's the booking decision, I think that the match ended the way it should have. The storyline's not over, and there's plenty of fruit to bear from that tree. It was a fantastic match. Good for those guys, man. They deserve it. Austin Theory deserves a match like that. The Profits being on the shelf for a while deserve a match like that. And Logan Paul getting all the shit he always gets deserves a match like that. So good for those guys, man. Man, it was a really good match. Saturday night's
agreed.
main event, Friday night, Monday night, doesn't matter. Good for them. It was a good match, man.
It was a great match. And I mean, again, like you, I was like, well, there was not one title change hands all night, but you know what? I'm okay with that. It didn't, you don't always have to see a title change at a big show. And I'm okay with that. Otherwise, we David Arquette the titles every chance we got. So, you know.
We
That
did
poor
that for a
bastard will
while.
never live it down.
I know. I feel bad for David Arquette because he gets so much shit, and it's not even his fault. It's just the way they booked it.
It's not even his
But
fault.
yeah, when he was fall, he just happened to be there. Like, oh, I won the title. Well, yay! But then again, we have to compare which is worse: David Arquette winning or Vince McMahon winning his own title. You know, which is worse at this point? I think Arquette would be worse only because the Vince thing was part of the story. Keep it away from Stone Cold and all that. We can argue that all day. But
does that make it any better? I don't think it does.
I'm not saying it makes it any better. I just say if it was part of the storyline, it makes sense. And David Arquette winning, I don't think that was. I think David Arquette's like, here's $100,000. I want to win the fucking WCW title. I want to go.
Everything else in WCW during that time, everything was random and literally made up on the spot. So
yep.
WCW is famous for being that way for the longest time there towards the end before it was over.
R.I.P. Ted Turner. R.I.P. Ted Turner.
Yes, we did talk about that on one of the other podcasts that I do. And the fact that Ted Turner was like, I want to buy WWF. And Vince said, no. And then Ted was like, well, fuck you. I'm going to buy WCW wrestling and I'm going to take you out of business. And we all know how that turned out. So total fail.
You know, I tell a joke that when Ted passed away, Vince got one last win over him. He's like, I beat you, you fucker. I beat you one more time.
Damn. Hold on. Where is it? Yeah.
Boy, oh boy.
Wow.
We like to have fun.
So that's harsh. So that's the end of the card for Saturday Night Main Event. Now, Anthony, this is your first time on the show. We do letter grades on this show of each PLE or main event that we review. I'm going to give you the floor first. Letter grades all the way down to F. What letter grade, and you can put pluses and minuses in there. We don't grade on curves here. So what would you grade this show? letter grade.
I'm really stuck between B minus and C plus. I'm being a little harsh. I think I'm being a little harsh. I think I'm gonna go C plus just because B minus kind of sounds bad. I give it a C plus. I mean, I think there's some really good parts of this PLE. What I liked about it was we didn't have one commercial through the first hour, so that was
Yeah,
really nice. And even the commercials didn't last very long. So that was a good layout for the show. I think that being a C, I think the how they layered the matches, I think I said it on the TikTok live that if we would have gotten the 6 women tag, then the Ethan Page match, then the Becky Lynch scenario, and then the last 2 matches, that would
yeah,
have kind of kept the monotony out and going, because the first match we kind of went, oh, fuck is this? And then we really
yeah.
went, oh, what the fuck is this? And it kind of set the tone for
Yep.
us. And then we had to build ourselves up with those matches and go, oh, hey, this is a pretty good match. Oh, that was a really good match. Oh, the matches are getting better. And then we hit that match. We had the roller coaster shouldn't make us go, right? The roller coaster should make us go, okay. Oh, yeah, that's really nice. Okay, we're going to mellow out. Shit. Oh, my God. And then bring us down. The roller coaster shouldn't make you want to throw up.
Yeah,
And I think there's a couple of spots in there. And then, just of course we talked about the missed spots and stuff. That's just me being hypercritical. I give it a C plus, man.
I can do that. Psycho, what would you grade this show?
Yeah, as soon as you said that, I'd already picked it out. I'm going to go with C plus. It could have been a lot better, but at the same time, it could have been a hell of a lot worse too. So I could have. I mean, I personally, I could have done without it. You know, I'm just saying, but not. At least we got a couple of decent little spots and a couple of decent matches along the way. So I'm not
Yeah,
completely disappointed, but you know, it could have been a whole lot better considering that we're like what a week away from the next PLE.
yeah, literally a week away.
So
Yeah, and I agree. And this is one of the first times that we've actually all had been unanimous as far as the grades are concerned. So yeah, I give it a C plus too. It wasn't a horrible show. It wasn't a great show, but here's the plus. It was better than night one of WrestleMania. And right now, that is the bar I'm setting every show
Oh
for
my,
from going
that is
forward.
awesome. That they'll never
I'm
live
sorry.
that down, dude.
And it's funny. We joked about this that, oh, because WrestleMania 9 arguably is the worst WrestleMania of all time. Night one of WrestleMania 42 is not far behind that. And it's one of those things where and we've talked about this before, if you take some of the matches from night two and put them on night one, it would have been a better show. But then again, there's some matches on night one that didn't need to fucking happen. And I will die on that fucking hill. I don't care what anybody says. There were some matches on there. I'm like, this is not WrestleMania caliber. Sorry, this could have been on Raw the next night, or this could have been on SmackDown the night before. But I digress. We're not here to, argue semantics and all that stuff. But that will conclude our review of Saturday night's main event. Psycho Nerd, promote your shit.
all right, you can find the Cycle Nerd podcast. It's currently on YouTube. That's going to be changing in the near future. I'm going to start putting some audio on Spotify, so look out for that. And you can also find my podcast on my YouTube channel for People Viewer. Got some new videos on the way out, including my second viewing of Obsession. I'm still obsessed over that movie.
Gee, that doesn't make any sense to me that you're obsessed over a movie called Obsession. Oh. Anthony, anything you want to promote? Your TikTok page, Instagram. I know you model sometimes. We need to, get the people out there.
Yeah, man. So I make wrestling content. I'm a creator, but I'm not a podcaster. I don't do any reviews or anything. But Anthony Raybrook TikTok page, VWPF, TWPF. We do a promo federation where we get on TikTok live. We have a whole booker, we have a manager, we have titles, we have storylines. We literally get together and we build our whole world of promo federation, storylines. And there's kayfabe in it. We get in our lives and we have a lot of fun and we build around it. So if you just like me, one of the main reasons I love WWE is because of the promos, because of how it makes me feel. Stone Cold made me feel electric. The Rock made me feel electric. John Cena made me want to run through a wall like I could do anything. That's the reason I watched WWE for so long and I'm such a faithful. If you like the promo aspect of wrestling, we have some guys and gals in there that can cut hard and we have some great stories. VWPF on TikTok. That's the page, VWPF. Come in there, man. Check us out. We go every Thursday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. Starts at 7:15. Y'all come in there, man. Show some love. You don't have to hang out for the whole thing, but yeah, we like to have some fun, man. Josh, thank you guys so much, man. It was a blast here.
Yeah, and again, we will have the links in the description down below. I will get those from you later on, Anthony. I know we will talk about that later. But along with DJ Zodiac podcast, you also could find the Real Movie Critics, my other podcast that I do with the Psycho Nerd and my buddy Lord Scuba Cabra. This week, we will be talking about the Mandalorian Grogu. Did we like this movie? Was it as great as we hoped, or was it just a fucking shitstorm like everything else Disney's been doing? By the tone of my voice, you can already tell what I thought of it. So you can find all that on my YouTube page, which is the Real Movie Critics. I'm sorry, the Real Movie Critics. Real Zodiac Productions. That's the YouTube page. But on Spotify and Apple, they are separate entities. DJ Zodiac Podcast and the Real Movie Critics. Again, real movies. I can't even talk today. My tongue is so fucking tired right now. Real reviews by real fans. So for Anthony and the Psycho Nerd, I am DJ Zodiac. This has been the DJ Zodiac Podcast. We want to thank you for watching and or listening to us. Anthony, it was an absolute pleasure having you on. I hope we can have you on again. This was awesome. But for these two gentlemen and for myself, I want to say thank you for watching and listening. And remember, kids, in the world of Superman, be the Green Lantern. We will see you next time.
Lights go down.